And the lie was that there is something that God is not wanting us to have or to experience. But the fact was that God always wants to give the very best for us. I have plans that you know not of. I have plans. He has plans for us that we don't even know. But because we're going off into our own ego, self-gratifications and looking to self, this is what is going to make me feel good right now. But we don't know. And oftentimes it doesn't. It just may be a waste of time or a waste of money, waste of energy or resources. But if we were to look to God, say, God, should I go ahead and make this decision? Should I go do this? If it's not a direct word or that still soft voice within you. Because if you're too in the ego, you're too up here, if you're not operating from the heart realm, then we can miss that still small voice. But the voice does get louder. As you submit, as you humble, as you value, as you cherish that this is your guide, this is your counselor, come under that and it grows, because whatever you honor, it will grow. I keep running off on things, but I want to get back to that, the lie that he had, that God was keeping something from us. And he said, because I want to supply all your needs. That is why he wants us to remain in his will. That is the training he's giving us so that he can supply all our needs. Because when we submit and remain in his will, we do nothing. That's the challenge. We do nothing from ego self. We don't submit to ego self. We don't raise ego, come under ego and make ego our God. We submit ego under our feet, but we come under the Spirit of God, that Holy Spirit, that guidance within the heart. Then we are operating within the circle of the will of God. He said he wants to supply all of our needs, because with then comes life changes and things flow. We live in flow. We live in ease. We live in joy. We live in abundance, because ultimately he knows what is best for us. That's why we're called the children of God. Because we're supposed to allow the leading, the parenting of God. Because that is ultimately what he knows us better than we know ourselves. That is what satisfies. That is what gives us contentment. That is what gives us our heart's desire. I have plans for you that you know not of. I have things for the future. I have plans of hopes of a future for you to hope for. But if we're operating too much from this brain ego, then we can't tune into what our hearts, our hopes, what we really hope for. But as we remain in the will of God, then we start to go through these synchronicities and the flowings and one thing to another thing. So we don't make a step out of that narrow path. If we take 2 steps out, it takes us 3 steps or 4 steps to get back. So it's kind of like out, in, and maybe we're not completely going in line with the will of God all the time. So imagine if you're in the will in every decision that you make, our lives will be so much more easier. Because sometimes we get ourselves into trouble because we listen to ego.